because AI is a new field. First of all, it's the relative new field. You do not have a lot of experience. The tools are coming right now. The education is just coming to the right point. Vagueness in most of the AI projects. So it's a bit different from classical software project. Opportunity of improvement or optimization. AI has a use case for that problem. So for large corporates, I think it's like it should start on the corporate strategy level. Actually, this was very interesting. You need to have a solutionist mind. This is called CRISP-DM, Cross Industry Standard Procedure for Data Mining.
Hello, listeners. Welcome to another episode of InvoTalks. This is Furqan Aziz, the CEO and founder of InvoZone, the software and web app development company with offices around the globe. We also have the two other verticals. One is for blockchain development called InvoBlocks, and one is for metaverse and game development called InvoGames. InvoZone offers extensive big data and AI services too. And today we are truly honored to have dynamic and inspiring Dr. Shahzad Cheema with us. Dr. Shahzad has a strong academic as well as practical background. He has PhD in computer vision and machine learning. In addition to working with organizations like IBM as lead data scientist in industrial applications, afterwards afterwards as quantum ambassador. He also was associated with DHL as data scientist senior expert. Now Shahzad is lead AI algorithm expert at Huawei Nuremberg Research Center. And as we have an audience from technical and non-technical backgrounds, from startups to large corporations, in this episode we will be discussing about building high-performant AI teams, how big data corporations are going to use AI, and how can businesses apply AI ethics. It is simply a pleasure to have Shahzad with us. So let's begin. First of all, Dr. Shahzad, please tell us about your journey, struggles, and how you were able to achieve so much, because you are an inspiration to us all.
Yeah, thank you very much, Furqan, for having me here. Really pleasure to talk. So, so I think I belong to Pakistan originally. Currently, I'm based in Munich, Germany. And my journey in AI or AI-related area, it started since year 2000. That is what I contribute. So I started a master in mathematics. And soon I was like, I need to do a bit more application-oriented. So I did a master in computer science. Actually, I did both of them in parallel, one in the morning, one in the evening. Then I used to teach at University of Punjab in Lahore for 4 years. So that also I learned a lot. When you teach, then you learn a lot more. And that's also one of my major lifetime interests. There, I was teaching mathematics, algorithms, AI. In 2007, then I came to Germany. There I had an opportunity for PhD or master, and I chose a third master, which is robotics, because I really love robots and how things work in hardware level. Then I did a PhD in large-scale image and video data analysis. This was the time when, the old classical computer vision was being taken over by deep learning methods and, CNN and all that type of new technology. The big data was really, on the horizon. I actually started. So I started and I worked in a startup as a data scientist for, the ad tech startups. Then, as you mentioned, in DHL on a corporate level, and in the central analytics team in the headquarters in Bonn. Then I worked for 4 years in IBM Watson IoT headquarters, which is based in Munich. Currently, then I'm working at Huawei, Germany, the Nuremberg Research Center, which is about the digital energy, digital power division. I'm also, of course, consulting, advising different startups, notably Texel, US and Pakistan office. So we do a lot of training. I'm leading a data science initiative. We have trained over 300 data scientists in Pakistan. Then we also have done quite many trainings in the industry, and the teams that we have then trained, I think they're working a lot. Some really, really interesting applications with many clients. So So that's I would say my introduction, and of course the path has been, as you said, okay, what was struggles and challenges. So over the past 20 years, I would say it had been mostly curiosity driven journey, and it took its natural time. So nothing so special.
And the amazing part is you said you are part of the consultancy as well as you're trying to train the people in Pakistan, and that is kind of very kind of for me personally seems like out of the box approach, because most of the people in the world, they know that they're expert, but they're not ready to pass on the knowledge, and then they don't really see people are leveraging their expertise and taking the things forward. So that is very kind of an inspiration for me in terms of passing the knowledge to the next generation, so that they can use that knowledge and then bring up something new and then do some more research on the top of what we have done so far. And I have another question. How did you know that AI was your ultimate passion? And for someone who is listening to us out there and is kind of fascinated about AI, what's the first step they should take to become successful like you?
Yes, I think for me the very I have the mindset from the mindset I think I'm solution oriented and curiosity driven. So if you have these two components, they would lead to. So I started with mathematics, but at some point I always question like where are we going to use? So there was a time when we used to read mathematics and solve the formulas, but did not have a clue what we are going to do. So, and then it came computer science, and then from the computer science, I think the really challenging problems in the computer science, in the IT and this industry is really AI related. So this mindset of getting and solving the problems, the most challenging problems, and the curiosity of knowing more and combining different information, I think that kind of led me towards AI. And you see, when I was doing a master, I was doing the third master, and it was kind of ridiculous. Why you are doing? I mean, I was always learning the things, and at that moment, it was not called data science, right? So it was just like different fields: math, computer science, IT, robotics, machine learning. And at some point in last decade, this started to emerge as one field. So it's kind of coincident, but if the new emergent, I think the people who want to solve, so if they look from the science perspective, they should think about to be reasonably good in mathematics, not really like, too much in theories. Most of the time, we are not doing even bachelor level mathematics. So it's just like you have a mind which is able to understand the language, abstract, so that when you're reading very difficult concept, you are able to translate. You have some statistical mind so that you are always, the data is on top of your head. This will be good. It's not really, you're, I don't know, PhD or something in statistics. And then the most important is the way you approach the problem. So you need to have a solutionist mindset. You're always trying to solve the problem. So if someone wants to join the field, this is exactly what I think I would suggest. So, just have the technology background. Even many most successful data scientists I have seen are what I call full stack data scientists. So who are coming from a certain other domain, and then they have, knowledge of programming, a bit of programming, not really the high-fi one. As you see, Python is, the languages are not very difficult, but they have this mindset that, okay, we can adapt to the new technology, we can understand it, and we can use it to a problem.
Perfect. You placed it very beautifully. If I recap it quickly, the ones who are looking to become AI experts, they should keep data on the top of their head all the time. They should be perfect problem solvers. I don't know what is the definition of perfect, but they should be a good problem solvers. And the third thing is they should be good at mathematics and statistics. So this is how they can become a successful AI experts. Thank you so much, Dr. Shahzad. I have another question now for you, that you are associated with Huawei Research Center as a lead algorithm expert. Would you mind sharing with us that, like, what sort of role is it, and what are your day-to-day activities, how it looks like if you want to highlight one day of your life at this research center, that would be awesome.
All right, perfect. So as you know, Huawei is really very large company with the services and products and solutions in technology, communication technology, IT, and other technologies. So one of the division of Huawei is called digital power, which is related to the energy and energy related product. That would include, so the Nuremberg research center is based here in Germany, and this research center is related to the digital power. So the topics then we are trying to, we address here are related to the photovolatile grids, the technology for that, inverters, for example, for the power, the electric vehicle, the battery system, the powertrain inside the electrical vehicle, a data center. So, for example, one of the most of my time, or it's a lot of time that I work on, is on the data center related projects. So as you know, the data centers, they consume a lot of energy, and this is, increasing. And part of that energy is on computation, and part of that energy is to keep the machines cool,
Cool.
right?
Yep.
And it will be like 25 to 50% sometime extra energy that is being used to cool down the machine. So it's a huge amount of energy, and we want to reduce it, of course, for the cost purpose, but also for the environment purpose. So then I work on different types of optimization systems, AI algorithms, or solutions for small data centers, but also for really large one. So this is, let's say, typical. So we develop algorithm. Then we have researchers here, students here, PhD students, master students, and the other teams across the globe. So my role is then to devise new algorithm, look at the new technologies related to, this digital power areas. Also hands-on work. I love to do that. So at least I find some time to program always. And I wish I have more time to do that. But at least this is the kind of then architecture, helping, also talking to the client, bringing technology insights for our teams. So that's my typical day.
That's amazing. The energy and power are the sort of very important and crucial matters right now in the world, because almost every machinery, the mobile phone, the laptop, the car, each and everything is running with some sort of power and energy behind the scene. And a shortage of energy, shortage of power is kind of challenge, and even unforeseeable availability of the power and energy for like our decade or 100 years, something for humanity is also a problem. So you are focused on very prime global problem that is Huawei is working on, and that's very interesting. I want to take this opportunity to gather maximum knowledge about AI technology for our listeners. So diving into our discussions about AI, all around the globe, AI is used in different ways, like forecasting of supply and demand internally, and for gauging company needs and automating tasks here. Like we've been seeing some replacement of the human itself. Like lately we see Chat GPT, and like overhyped might be, but hyped quite well. And here in your view, what are the major uses of you see of AI, especially in big corporations and companies? And in your experience, what are the major industrial problems you come across, and how AI efficiently help in solving them?
Yeah, so I think related to the large corporates, the large organization, the AI could be helpful in different ways. Let's say in one case which is about the core business, the core operation of a corporate. So if you're a logistic company, you're talking about supply chain. I used to work at DHL. So basically then we are talking how to do, shipment optimization, the best route for the trucks, and so on and so on. So similarly, if you are in manufacturing, the use cases are typically again related to optimization of the business operation. How can we do the quick? How can we minimize our resources? How can we improve the time? How can we detect or inspect quickly? For example, just to give an example, in the industries for the tires, there are roughly, from the start until the end, there are 17 points where there is an inspection that has to happen, starting from the raw material until the end product. And often this inspection is done by human, and of course, it's not the most interesting job people want to do. And also, there is a room for optimization. So the visual inspection type of system, they are getting more and more popularity on the production line. In operations, of course, then there are also use cases for how to, do shift optimization and so on. So these are roughly business related to the use cases that are related to the operations of large organization and corporate. If we look at the second part, which is like for home, for the customers, consumers, and clients, and the use cases almost for large organizations are always related to the customer and churn prediction, 360-degree dashboards, and understanding their customers better, upselling, cross-selling, building recommendation systems for their customers and clients. So this is, the second type or dimension of the use cases. The third one is more related to how things are done. For example, digital transformation. A lot of organizations, even large corporates, are part of their divisions of the large corporates. They're always in a certain transformational phase. Some organizations, they have different preferences. Some would like to, harmonize everything in a single similar cloud. The other would like to diversify and do not get into a vendor lock. So there are different requirements. For data science teams, some organizations, want to have a common platform and so on. So data lakes, for example. So this is the field where I would say more data scientists/data engineers are required, are needed. So there are tons of use cases. There you can see wherever there is a software, wherever there is an opportunity of improvement or optimization, AI has a use case for that problem.
You have covered almost not if not all, but most of the use cases already. And I guess every industrial businessman or corporate company owner or director thinks that they can replace human with some sort of machine or AI or robot or something like that. But to convert that concept or idea or automation into the reality and in action robot or something, there needs to be solid and great team required of engineers or people who are actually who are technically savvy, and they understand what they do and they know what they do. So such kind of team and such kind of people are required to turn or convert their concept of automation into the reality. So here I would really like to talk about the AI team building tool, because without team we cannot deliver, we cannot achieve these. Since InvoZone is also a software development service provider and we do offer AI teams as well, that is why this would be a very great question to our customers, that when they come to us and they ask about AI teams. So let's leverage from your knowledge here, because it is a big issue for companies nowadays, keeping in view your extensive experience in this regard. Also, you are right now heading a team of AI engineers in Huawei. So how difficult is it to build an AI team and maintain especially the top talents in the high performant AI team?
Yeah, so I think it's difficult, let's put it this way, because AI is a new field. First of all, it's the relative new field. You do not have a lot of experience. The tools are coming right now. The education is just coming to the right point. And then there is a certain vagueness in most of the AI projects. So it's a bit different from classical software project, that you have some uncertainty and you have to put that uncertainty in your plan and also in your people. You have to kind of think that these guys or this team could actually deliver me what I'm going to promise. So for large corporates, I think it's like it should start on the corporate strategy level. Actually, this was very interesting. When I work at DHL, the data analytics department was developed inside the headquarter in corporate strategy. And then they kind of spread out and the divisions were trained, and then the teams really grow huge. So, however, for small and sometimes also for medium corporations, companies, it's a challenge, because if you just want to hire one or two person, it's very difficult. First of all, who is hiring? How much qualified person do you have? So that's less a challenge. However, let's say imagine you have it, you have the data scientists, you got them. You need to provide them challenging problems. One thing that would happen with typical data science profile is an introvert, scientific guy who has done math, computer, this type of thing. So you have to find out a way to kind of retain them for 5 years. Otherwise, typically, one problem that you're solving could go from 6 months to 1 year type of range. So what is the next problem? So retention is a challenge. You have to have a good set of problem for them, a career plan for them. It's also good to give the teams some liberty, but actually a lot of liberty, at least some 20% of liberty, learnability, adaptability, and bringing their own ideas. It's also very important to build an ecosystem around your team. So that, if a lot of time data scientists or even programmers, you get into a certain loop, right? So you're stuck somewhere, you're not able to see something else, you're not able to get a challenge from your colleague. So if you have an ecosystem, a small team around them, and then they are helping each other, I think this also makes them, feel like they are learning all the time. And this is one of the field where you can't stop that, okay, we are done. No, you're never done. You have to have this ecosystem where you are able to appreciate being part of that ecosystem. And that's very important, more than anything. So this is why it's a challenge. If you're a small company and you want to have one person, it might feel a bit lonely at some point.
You are absolutely right. I would like to second your opinion here with full force that I was trying to hire a solution architect in AI, and when I looked at the guy was very very awesome and he was having a great knowledge and experience. But when I looked at his profile, there was quite frequent switches, and I asked him why, like, because for any company when they're hiring someone new, this is a concern. Why we would hire someone who would be leaving us within 6 months? The way he left the previous companies. So his answer was, I am not challenged enough so far in any company. If your company do have the challenge, does have the challenges, enough challenges in the pipeline, please do hire me. Otherwise, I won't be staying here as well. So you are absolutely right. When they are challenged continuously, they feel like they're learning, they're not stagnant, and they stay with the company. And at the same time, the community, the ecosystem and community development is super important. If any of our customer or someone who is looking to develop some AI tool or platform or automation or something, and looking to onboard some vendor for that, outsourcing or something, this would be helpful for them. Do not go with a company who don't have enough team size, enough people in their company. For sometimes some people have one or two people or very random engineers sitting for data science or data engineering in their houses, but they would not be able to develop something that you are looking for. Go for someone who is specialized, having end-to-end full-fledged team with all hierarchy level and kind of ecosystem established there. And Dr. Shahzad, we have many startup founders as regular listeners, and we get this query a lot. For startups or middle-sized companies, is it good to hire an AI team at all? Like, we already spoke about that, but it is now we are focusing on startups and middle-sized companies, because building an AI team can be expensive and time-consuming sometimes. So should they hire some team in-house, or should they go for outsourcing, or what sort of model you would suggest them when they reach an inevitable need of AI team?
I think for startup, my experience in general, especially in the advising and also at Texel, is that it's not so easy. Again, for the scarcity of resources in AI, it's not so easy. It's a kind of bet if you just want to hire one person. And most of the time, if you're not yourself an expert, it's good to maybe start with a service provider. Hire, get some help, at least starting from advisory, but more as even an expert team. So for small companies, I would suggest it's better, because then the entrepreneur, they can just focus on their business problem, because sometimes it's also very important that they need to be challenged. There are tons of ideas. So if you have an expert team out there, maybe they could just, tell you that, look, the idea, this is what is doable, this is what is not doable. And it could be very difficult for an enthusiast entrepreneur or CEO to just, have somebody who is not going to challenge them. So, because if both data scientists and CEO, they are equally enthusiast, you have to have some stop or some challenges in there. So the teams that you should look for should be more trusted advisors, and of course, then the experienced in their own, service side, even IT side, if possible.
Perfectly said. Perfectly said. And another question we come across a lot is how to effectively deal and build database projects, like understanding data requirements, iterations, timelines, and often how complex it can be. I know this is a very, very kind of abstract question, but I would let you drive this into the direction you would like to.
So if I understand correctly, this is what is the the life cycle of the data science project?
Absolutely. We can go into that direction for sure.
Okay. So I think what we do, and then I will get back, what I think is we typically, I combine three elements. One is design thinking, the process to acquire how we see the product, how we are going to, get out of all the ideas, what is the user, where we stand, what are the stakeholder, and kind of get to a high level plan, a mock-up, because then we at least understand that this is what we are going to look. So one part, of course, is that this process of discovery or design thinking, what we really need. The second part is about the data science practice. So the technique or process that I would say I propose is very simple. It's from IBM, an old process called CRISP-DM, Cross Industry Standard Procedure for Data Mining. And it's basically, 5 or 6 steps from domain understanding, data understanding, model building, model deployment, testing, and so on. So, and this process is typically, we then define it should take 1 or 2, sprints each time, so that you are already always communicating and giving feedback to your product owner or your client. The third aspect of the delivery of a data science project is agile, so that you are, you have a team, you really have a kind of, the daily stand up, and you have a Scrum Master, at least everything which is not absolutely like a software development project, but very, very close to that. So these three things are more, I would say, the processes that I suggest we follow. Now, what practically happens in general is that, as I said, data science and AI has often a certain vagueness. So it will need a lot of communication with the client, understanding of the problem, putting down the risks. What are the risks? And what I say, a good design project is a good solution design or good statement could be, look, by the end of phase 1, we will be able to get 90% accuracy on 80% of the cases, something like that. So if you're able to put few statements like that, this gives you a clear indication that, look, these are the goals that I need to achieve. Also, another important thing I notice, I would say more on the business side, a challenge is that a lot of time data science or AI is involved quite late in the process, right? Sometimes I see that the data has been collected, but the data was not collected in the right way. So that's very common that, you don't know. So it's good that once you're planning, at that moment you start to engage the AI team and the data science team. I don't know if it answers. I think you also mentioned about timeline, right?
Yep.
So for timeline, it's again, every project is different. There are projects which are, as you say, okay, we want to build a recommendation system. That's okay. We want to build a forecasting system. Maybe also, but now imagine we want to build a system which is optimization of routing options, and you have 100,000 flights a year, 220 countries in the world, 5-10 million packets a day, and tons of airline currencies. Every country has different things. So in those projects, you should, of course, think about years, or at least, a long number of months. And then sometimes the projects are, look, we have a sensor and we want to detect, or we want to improve the certain aspect of the sensor. We have the lab data. This goes to a couple of sprint. So the range of typical AI project, I divide it into this feasibility/scoping, POC/MVP phase, and then the product and maintenance.
You covered
phases.
thoroughly. Yeah, you covered thoroughly every component of the whole life cycle of AI-based projects and the challenges and their solution as well to some level. I asked explicitly about the timeline because the AI-based projects are more sort of, this is my opinion, you can correct me if I'm wrong, they are research-based. And for a research-based project, you can talk about the percentage of the completion or maybe accuracy or something like that, but you cannot give a hard deadline because that is something very unrealistic to say that if the things would progress in this way, then we would be able to be able to reach the 90% accuracy with the 80% of the use cases, as you said earlier. But you covered almost everything on that. We are going to the very end of the session, and before we leave you, I just want to touch on one of the trending topic which is AI ethics, and then I would love to have a dedicated episode on topics on a topic of AI ethics with you maybe later time, because I really enjoyed our conversation here. So my question is how the leadership should use AI ethics in a way that it is productive for them as well as for the business.
Yeah. So I think the first answer will be awareness. So when we talk about ethics and morals, they are subjective, the things that were at some point considered okay. Think about spamming, right? I think they came as soon as the internet came, sometime in early 90s or so. And that was fine to spam, right? This was a great business idea. Um, but now spamming is not considered a good idea, right? So that's not a good business. No one could be proud of spamming users. So it's really that the ethics and morals, they keep changing. And that's why it's very important to be, aware of where we stand. For example, we have laws. In Europe, we have very strict law about GDPR. So then it's very important to understand where you are. Are you, the owner of the data? Are you not owner of the data? It's also very important to understand the consent concept. Also, it's very important to think about, like, now we have also another. So it's not like there is a very hard and fast rule. That's why I say it's good to be aware, because then you can make a certain judgment about your product and about your solution. And you can say, maybe this is legal, but maybe this is not ethical. Maybe this is ethical, but technically from your point of view, but not legal in certain part of the world. So, like AI generates images, right? So this is like we have Dali, we have really some nice, great platforms. And the debate right now is that, the huge millions and billions of actually images are used in order to create an engine, which is able to then create an image for you, given you provide a text. The question is that, it's an AI generated image and you have all the rights. Is it a fair use? The people who created the nice imagery in the past, whose data is being put into that engine and blended it in order to give it an intelligence, should they get any credit for that? So that's a kind of a discussion point. So, but I think there are some, and that's more at this point. I would keep it more as a discussion, because different countries, different places, they are going into this process of regulation. So data privacy, consent, protection, cybersecurity, I believe these are the rights, and any product and any solution and any organization has to take care of that. The gray areas we can figure out. Then how AI is used, and I think it's not so. I mean, we don't see that the autonomous car are right away running on the road. There is a huge amount of regulations.
Yep.
Similarly, in US, the FDA, they are not just letting pass every other product. They make some regulations easy, but most of the solutions, if you go on the FDA website and you see what kind of AI oriented solution they have allowed, typically these are image oriented, because they had already a proven track record. Similarly, FDA has also put a process about how the AI application should be developed, kind of some ethics around development. Finally, in many situations, it's also, if you are going to get a performance from a white box model compared to a black box model, so it's typically preferred and even required in some cases to build a white box model. So I think the field is pretty great. And I think one interesting example here, maybe it's a large topic, is about even Chat GPT. So from GPT-3, I think one big difference that we see, and they even OpenAI also claims, is about the ethics. And the way the ethics are now embedded into that is that they had this reinforcement learning with the human in the loop, so that all the answers are also evaluated by the human experts, and then the system understands when you ask it a question which is morally or ethically not good, or it's dangerous, then the system will just be very careful about it. So it's, compared to the previous version, it's much better right now. So leaders, I think they should be more aware of the regulations and the ethical standards at the moment. And fortunately for the business use cases, B2B use cases, it's not that big of challenge, as long as it's not touching the personal data and personally identifiable data.
Absolutely correct. And you have touched very sensitive areas and matters, and I guess the world should be focusing on those ethical points and components that we did just discussed. In the very end, I the wrap up question I would like to ask. Since in the very start of 23, the Chat GPT got viral and got 1 million users within 5 days, and this is an OpenAI based sort of platform. And do you see 2023 is a year of AI? Can we call that? Like, what's your opinion on that?
I think the last 10 years, I think every year is a year of AI for me. And it will be for another several near future years, because it's like we are just in a transformation. The data is increasing, the algorithms are increasing. Yes, a couple of things, very interesting thing has happened in 2022 that will lead or opens quite new application, a quite new way of thinking and new challenges. That, as you mentioned already, Chat GPT, also Dolly for image creation, also the way synthetic data is used now. So I think one of the topic that we might see more is the use of synthetic data in building application, healthcare, and medical side. I think that's also could see maybe a lot more new use cases. It's always there, but it's probably one of my major interest. One thing I see is which is a bit missed in AI community is the data management, the quality of the data. So when we will talk about the fairness, synthetic data, the concept drift that often happens with the models. So you build a model and then things started changing. How we are going to handle, especially for those large scale models, which are things that are developed on generic data, and the trends change. Like COVID, forecasting model had a huge trouble in incorporating the trends, the changes that were involved due to the COVID. So this topic about how the change in data affect the models of AI, I think that could also become a one big topic. So yes, in short, this is yet another year of AI.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Shahzad. You have shared a lot of knowledge about and a lot of directions and left some stuff to think about for our listeners. I have learned so much from you today, and now I know that how to build a high performant AI team, how to retain them, how to develop enough or prepare enough challenges for them, and keeping up the pipeline for them. How how the ethics would looks like, and how the AI would be changing their lives in 2023. If I go back 5 years or 10 years, probably AI was taken as nice to have thing, but I guess in the upcoming years it would be must to have things everywhere, and everyone would be part of some sort of AI, or might be using some sort of AI tools, applications, or platforms, or automations, or might be some jobs would be replaced by AI based bots, tools, or something like that. And those jobs are not going to be those people are not going to be jobless. They might start learning mathematics, data, and start developing such AI based tools. So AI is gonna turn the world altogether into a different dimension. Thank you so much once again, Dr. Shahzad. I would love to have another session sometime sooner on AI ethics of AI ethics stuff, and completely based on your availability, because I know that you have very busy schedule.
Well, thank you very much again for inviting me, and of course I will have to talk again and more, and that's a really pleasure to be here.